Hello there, fourth grade goal getters. At the end of this lesson, you should be able to tell yourself, I can accurately summarize a fictional text, and I can identify the theme of a fictional text. Here are some summarizing fiction tips that Mr. Cretan mentioned in his video from yesterday. When we summarize fiction, we need to make sure we are retelling the most important parts of the story. We don't need to add all of those details that don't really tell us too much about the story. We want to make sure we are telling the events in our own words. We don't want to copy exactly what the author said in the text. We also need to keep in mind the big idea or what the story is mostly about. And we can do this by asking ourselves these questions based on the somebody wanted but so then model. We can ask ourselves questions like, who is the main character? What did the character want? What was the problem? How did the character try to solve the problem? And what was the resolution to the story? You might be asking yourself, why is summarizing such an important skill for me to know? Well, it shows that you understand the text that you are reading and that you can communicate that understanding to others. Like my friend Dave Pilkey, the author of Captain Underpants and Dogman, says, reading gives you superpowers. And summarizing is one of them. Here is our story that we are going to summarize today and find the theme of. Gustavo's favorite sport is soccer, and he dreams of being a professional soccer player. When he was only 4 years old, his older brother taught him how to kick the ball. At first, Gustavo was never able to make the ball go where he wanted it to go. Now Gustavo is 10 years old, and he has had a lot of practice. When Gustavo kicks the soccer ball hard with his left foot, he can make it fly into the goal. He calls it his lucky left foot. All of Gustavo's friends love to play soccer when they get out of school. Today there is a new boy at school. His name is Felipe. After school, the boys invite Felipe to play soccer with them. Felipe says okay, but looks very nervous. The game starts and Gustavo moves to the front of the field. Gustavo feels happy every time he plays soccer, and tonight he is playing even better than usual. Felipe accidentally passes the ball to the other team, but Gustavo steals the ball back and runs with it as fast as he can. Thwack! Gustavo kicks the ball with his lucky left foot and it flies through the sky into the goal. Everybody cheers and Gustavo feels like he is the king of the soccer field. Felipe feels like a failure. Gustavo asks Felipe, "What's wrong?" Felipe sighs and says, "I don't know how to play soccer. I tried once and everybody laughed at me." Gustavo pats Felipe on the shoulder. "That's all right," says Gustavo. "I used to be really bad too. You just have to keep trying." After the game, Gustavo and Felipe stay on the field to practice. Gustavo shows Felipe how he kicks with his lucky left foot. When Felipe tries to kick the ball, it goes in the wrong direction. Gustavo doesn't laugh at Felipe. Instead, he looks and sees that Felipe is kicking the wrong part of the ball with his foot. Gustavo shows Felipe where to kick the ball, and already Felipe is a little bit better. The rest of the week, Gustavo and Felipe practice on the soccer field after the other boys leave. The next week, Felipe scores his first goal, and Gustavo gives him a big high five. Now Felipe looks forward to playing soccer every day, and Gustavo has a new friend. I'm going to show you an example of a summary that I wrote, and I want you to think in your head, is this an example of a strong or weak summary? Gustavo's favorite sport is soccer. Felipe accidentally passes the ball to the other team, but Gustavo steals the ball back and runs with it as fast as he can. Thwack! Felipe is sad, but Gustavo helps him practice. I'll give you about 10 seconds to think in your head. Does this include the most important details? Is it following our somebody wanted but so then model? Is it using my own words or is it using the author's words? What do you think? If you are thinking this is a weak summary, you are correct. That summary did not have enough detail. It used the author's exact words, none of my own words, and it didn't really follow a structure. That summary didn't tell me what the problem of the story was, it didn't tell me how it was resolved. I don't really know what happened in this story based on that summary. When we use our somebody or someone wanted but so then model, this really sets us up for success when we write a summary on a fiction text. So the main character of the story is Gustavo because we learn a little bit about his background at the very beginning. Gustavo wanted to be a professional soccer player, but Felipe, the new kid at school, all of a sudden he comes and does not know how to play soccer, and he makes a mistake at their game. How did Gustavo try to solve the problem? Gustavo helps Felipe practice after school and shows him how to hit the soccer ball. Then, the resolution to the problem is that Felipe scores his first goal and Gustavo made a new friend. Take a look at this second summary. I want you to think the exact same thing. Is this a strong or a weak version of a summary? Gustavo's dream is to be a professional soccer player, and he practices with his friends after school. Then one day, the new kid at school, Felipe, joins their game. Felipe does not know how to play, so he makes a mistake. Gustavo decides to help Felipe practice and shows him how to hit the ball. At their next game, Felipe scores his first goal, and they become friends. In this summary, I didn't add the details that weren't very important. It's cool that Gustavo had his lucky left foot, but that doesn't really tell us about the big idea of the story. So I didn't add details like that. So if you were thinking that this is a strong example of a summary, you are correct. In that summary, I told the most important parts of the story. I used my own words, and I started out and followed the somebody wanted but so then structure. And that structure really, really helped me make a solid summary. Now we're going to move on to talking about the theme of this passage. Remind yourselves that the theme is the message, moral, or lesson of a story. When you're trying to find the theme of a text, you can ask yourself this question. What is the message about people, life, and the world we live in that the author wants the reader to understand? So what does that story about Gustavo and Felipe teach us about our own lives? What can we learn from that story? A few themes that I came up with, a few things that I think the author wanted us to take away are to treat others how you would want to be treated, persevere and you will succeed, and good friends don't put others down, they lift them up. These themes aren't the only ones. These are just some possible themes. When you come up with a theme, they can be in your own words. When you do your assessment tomorrow, I want you to use the skills that we practiced both today and yesterday to help you be super successful and make your best summary and theme. Good luck tomorrow. You got this.